What's up, guys? We are back with another video, more specifically a vlog. And in this video I wanted to talk about how veganism doesn't really mesh all that well with intersectionality in a lot of ways. Let me read you the definition of intersectionality. I'm not an expert on it by any means, but this is what I've come to understand that it means. And it says the interconnected nature of social categorizations such as race, class, and gender as they apply to a given individual or group regarded as creating overlapping and interdependent systems of discrimination or disadvantage. So that's a lot of words. It's basically just talking about how different forms of segregation and different forms of bias and discrimination and such are all interconnected. You're kind of talking about others and how others aren't as good, or looking down upon others. The same can be said about veganism, and that's a reason you'll see that a lot of vegans are intersectionalists. I don't think that most vegans are necessarily intersectionalists, but you'll encounter it a lot. You have a lot of vegans who are more liberal. I'm more liberal leaning on a lot of issues, but I'm more of a centrist, but I definitely see both sides. There's definitely more right-wing vegans as well. You're gonna see every different political belief represented under veganism, because veganism just means you have to care about the animals. Everything else isn't as relevant. But the reason that intersectionalism and veganism are often put together is because, in a sense, they definitely do fit together. Human rights and animal rights, we're all sentient creatures that do deserve rights, and we do deserve some kind of respect. So essentially, people who are intersectionalists are often trying to force you to go along with different human rights issues, and even like little issues that not everyone feels the same way about, regarding like social justice type issues. And one of the reasons that I mention this is because I was on a vegan community online, and it was just one of many that I was on, but they banned me because I like the TV show Friends. And I thought that was completely absurd. That show was very progressive for its time. They had gay relationships in that show, represented in a pretty legitimate way for the time, when a lot of shows wouldn't even do that. Then you also had different races represented. Like Ross was dating a black woman for a long time. And it's just crazy. Like, I understand that right now it wouldn't be considered progressive, and I could see how a ton of the views and probably a lot of the jokes are dated, but there's also a lot of other funny jokes in it, and it just seems silly to think that watching that would be bad in some way or another. And I had people comment all kinds of crazy things I'll probably put on the screen, but they basically were saying, oh yeah, you're not vegan because you like the TV show Friends. And they were also saying the same thing about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I understand this isn't really like a common viewpoint, I don't think, but things like this seem to be growing in our society in a lot of ways. So yeah, I don't really know, but what I can say is that there aren't a lot of vegan organizations. There are a ton of human rights organizations, because humans are the ones that make organizations. Humans mostly care about themselves, and there's a ton of representation for people. Now, of course, there should be more, and we should definitely advance human rights. It's super, super important that we do. But animal rights, they're killed by the billions. Humans aren't being killed by the billions every single year. They're not being put into, the terrible situations that animals are, which if you're not vegan, you should definitely look into. And so you have to put that in perspective. If somebody is going to be for animal rights, we're not going to be like, oh, but you also have to care about every human rights issue ever. Don't buy those shoes from Nike, from the slave factories. Now, I don't think you should do that. I don't buy shoes from Nike, and I think there's a lot of companies that I probably do buy from that I shouldn't, and I want to learn more about that type of stuff. But to say someone isn't vegan because, they don't support a human rights issue, like, there's a lot of human rights issues people know about, and just in general, I think that attaching those things is not good for the vegan movement. So I'm sure a lot of my views probably are going to change in the future to some degree or another, but I don't think they'll change that much on this particular issue, because human rights and animal rights are two very different things when it comes to how they're represented, and trying to mix them together just gets people confused, and it makes people not want to get on board because there's just so many different things to try to comprehend. Now, I do think, on the other hand, that intersectionality is basically true in a lot of ways. Even when it comes to veganism, other beings are classified as others, and other people are classified as others because of stupid things that shouldn't be relevant to their character or to who they are or what kind of rights they should have. And in that sense, I do agree with intersectionality, but as far as how they're represented, I definitely think that you need to separate veganism from intersectionality. And I know some people won't agree with that for sure. And I am a fan of a lot of people who are intersectional, so it's not like it's this huge clash, but I just wish they would keep veganism out of that realm, because it just doesn't work well. So yeah, that's basically my overall views on that topic. And I'd be glad to debate someone or talk to someone about it if they have a different stance than me on it, because I think it's an interesting topic, and I think one of the most important things during this time is to actually talk about issues openly and sincerely, because you just see a lot of just ridiculousness with this cancel culture and you can't say that, and it's just like completely absurd. I hate seeing that, because what we need to progress as people is we need to talk to each other like human beings and not just block everything out, tune people out that we don't agree with. We should definitely debate it, talk about it. Don't assume you're right on everything. Different people have different things to share. Even if they seem ignorant at first, they probably have some points you haven't thought of. So I think that it's important for us to actually have an open dialogue with each other on these issues. And aside from that, I just think that people who don't know about this stuff, if they're ignorant on the topic of human rights or veganism, we need to educate them or just teach them about these things. And if they don't get it at first, everybody takes time to get things, some more than others. But I think a lot of people will come to similar conclusions if it's explained to them and if it's talked about with them in a reasonable fashion. But anyway, I'm almost to the park, about to do a little bit of working out. And if you like the video, give it a like maybe. And comment if you have anything to say about all that stuff. Go ahead and comment. I'll talk about it with anybody. I'm on a lot of different Discords too. So anyway, I need to get my workout in, so I'll catch you guys in the next one.